August 1989. I am completing my first month in Iceland at this time. I'm getting used to the weather, not wearing my parka everywhere I go. Getting used to a lot of sunshine at this time of year. Sun still stays up for a long, long time. Getting settled into my job. Found out that I wasn't going to be stationed on Keflavik. I was going to the little radar site of Rockville, and I did some reading while I was there. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bump on my head right here. I hit my head on the bookshelf. It's still a little tender. All you're getting is glare from the lights off of my dome. But anyway, let's get into the books I read in August of 1989. And we'll start with Ghoul by Michael Slade. This is actually the second book of the Special X series, but it's the first one I read. I think this is the one that has an Alice Cooper lyric at the beginning of it, and that's all I needed. Alice Cooper, I'm reading this. You know, it wasn't a blurb from Alice Cooper. They just used one of his lyrics, and I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan. But it's, as I said, it's a Special X. I'm looking at my notes here. Special X book number 2. And there's 3 different stories. There's a bunch of different stories going on that are all going to tie together. There's a serial killer in London. There's a band called Ghoul in Vancouver. There's a weird family in Rhode Island. All sorts of horrific stuff going on. And characters from all these places are going to come together. They're going to solve crimes. I thought it was a great book. I really enjoyed it. It's pretty wild. So if you haven't read, also graphic, but if you haven't read any Michael Slade, I say give it a try. But start with the first one. Not sure that it matters. Don't remember well enough if it matters, but Headhunter, I believe, is the first one. It's going to be on this list coming up eventually, one of these weeks. Next up, we have Bones by Bill Pronzini. Check that name. This is in his Nameless Detective series. So basically, it's just a private detective series, but the main character is never named. And you can do that, I guess, when you're writing in first person. But this 35 years ago, someone committed suicide in a locked room, and for whatever reason, the nameless detective now, present day, at least as of the time the book was written, is trying to solve what happened. So it's a mystery. I was not thrilled, I remember. Just didn't get into Bill Pronzini's writing style, I think. So I moved on to Murder in the White House by Margaret Truman. She is the daughter of Harry S. Truman. This is the first in her Capital Crimes series. So a series of mysteries and thrillers that take place in the Washington, D.C. area. And in this one, there's a murder in the Lincoln bedroom. And the guy who's the White House counsel is assigned to figure out who did it. There's a whole series of these. It was fine. Nothing wrong with it, but, wasn't something I was super thrilled with either. Next up, number 4, Myth Conceptions by Robert Asprin. And in this one, our character Skeeve, our magician, sorcerer, whatever you want to call him, is working for the king, and he's fighting, according to my notes, the universe's mightiest invading army. And this is just comedy fantasy. It's decent enough stuff. All right, next up, and I forgot to take this off the bookshelf, because this is the only one of all these books that I'm going to talk about. It's the only one I have, but it's The Tomb by F. Paul Wilson, the first Repairman Jack book. So I really need to go into this. You can go back and watch my video It's part of my F. Paul Wilson's Secret History of the World series. It's the third one in that series. But it's Repairman Jack. It's the first case we get to read about. He's hired by one person to find a necklace that was stolen. And he's hired by someone else to find a missing person. Those cases kind of come together, and there's monsters and craziness, and it's the first Repairman Jack. It's fantastic. Then we have Ghost Story by Peter Straub. Not sure how you say his name. It's a classic. It was made into a movie. It's probably, I don't even need to say probably, his best known story. And it's I think it's four friends who get together, tell scary stories to each other, but it's one of those stories where something happened in their past and it's come back to haunt them. In this case, literally. Fantastic. Creepy ass story. It's great. The movie's pretty damn good too. All right, now the next, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 5 books I borrowed from a friend that I made up in Iceland. One of the guys I was stationed with was going to be leaving soon, probably the end of the month. And we were talking books. His favorite writer was Isaac Asimov. I had never read the Foundation books, so he lent me the first 5. They might be the only 5 that were out at this time. I can't say that for sure. But he lent me the first 5. I had to read them within a week or two before he was leaving so I could get them back to him. And here we have them. So, the first book is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. Main character is Harry Seldon. Not Sheldon, but Seldon. He's the creator of Psychohistory. And so there's a galactic empire that's sort of falling apart. The edges are getting worn. And Harry Seldon has come up with this psychohistory that's used to predict the future. And not, a specific, you're going to trip over the sidewalk tomorrow. But a massive, the trends of the future. This is what's going to happen over years based on everything that's happened in the past. I'm predicting what's going to happen over the next few hundred years, and they're trying to use this to save civilization, but it's definitely falling apart. So Harry Seldon, hopefully I may have the details a little wrong. Harry Seldon creates Foundation, which is a group that's going to preserve knowledge and help guide the future. So after that, we have Foundation and Empire. And so the Empire has fallen. Civilization-ish has fallen. The Foundation is set up in their location. But this person called the Mule has sort of shown up. I can't remember if they're trying to fill the power vacuum. I'm trying to stifle a yawn. I'm a little tired. Can't remember if they're trying to fill a power vacuum or just want to take over in general. But the Foundation, it's basically the Mule versus the Foundation. And third, we have Second Foundation. I know that seems odd, but the third book is called Second Foundation. And there's I guess this is kind of spoilery since we're talking about 5 books in a row. After what happens with the Mule, the Foundation is in disarray, but it turns out that there was a secret Second Foundation set up. And then, looking at my notes, in the next book, Foundation's Edge, the original Foundation and the Second Foundation, are kind of in a conflict to see who's the real Foundation. And then finally we have Foundation and Earth, and they're trying to move humanity forward. There's this planet called Gaia that is a holistic planet, so every single part of the planet is connected. It's almost hive mind-ish, but this goes so far, at least in the description I looked at, because I don't remember this far back. It's like every blade of grass, every raindrop, every being, every creature, all connected. Feels everything, knows everything. So the Foundation folks can't decide if this is the place that they should take humanity, and so they need to find sort of the mythical... Well, I don't know if it's mythical or just somewhat forgotten. I think they know people came from Earth. Maybe they've lost track of it because it's been so long. Anyway, they have to find Earth. They want to find Earth to decide if Gaia is the right place to set up. So that was the first 5 Foundation books, all by Isaac Asimov, of course. There were more, but this is all I had at the time while I was in Iceland. So we'll move on. Next we have Tales by Moonlight 2, edited by Jessica Amanda Salmonson. I had to write really small to fit that all on one line. And this is just a short story collection. Old stories, new stories, just a bunch of scary stories. Then, I have something I could not fit all in one line. When My Love Returns from the Ladies' Room, Will I Be Too Old to Care? By Louis Grizzard, or Grizzard. And this is he was a humor writer, and this is just a bunch of humorous essays and stuff. You know, I was in Iceland. I had to read what I could find. And then finally, the last book that I read in August of 1989 is The Doll Who Ate His Mother by Ramsey Campbell. So we have this woman named Claire. She gets in a car accident, which kills her brother in the passenger seat. And then she notices that his arm is missing. And that leads to craziness and horror. And the only thing I really remember about this is I was very disappointed in the ending. The few things I've read by Ramsey Campbell, that's the one takeaway I've had, is that I felt that the endings didn't work. At least not for me. I do want to go back and read Ramsey Campbell, whether I try some of his newer stuff, go back and reread something like The Doll Who Ate His Mother, see if maybe I have a different opinion now. I know he's popular, so I should probably give him another try. And that being said, I absolutely want to go back and read all the Foundation books again. And I don't own any of them at this point. But they're fantastic. Isaac Asimov, as much as the man was a genius and he had heady, out there, complicated ideas, but his writing was very accessible. He had a very simple writing style. And they're relatively quick reads. So definitely want to go back and read those as well. Anyway, there you have it. That's everything I read. That's a lot of stuff. That's like, 12, 13, 14 books I read in August of 1989 while I was up in Iceland. Probably started my regular duties by this point. You know, when I got there in July, I had to go through all my introductory stuff. I was on the base Keflavik for a little while. Then I went to Rockville. Probably had more introductory stuff, but I'd been in the service for 3 years at this point, a little over 3 years. So it's not like I was going through basic training or anything. Just paperwork, learning the base itself and what my specific duties were. So by this time, I was probably just doing my job, which was either guarding the front gate or guarding manning basically the front entrance to the radar site itself, or the radar building itself. Kind of rambled a little bit here, so I'm going to save some more anecdotes for the next video. Get into a little bit of what I actually did at the front gate, because I think it's interesting-ish, if that's your kind of thing. All right, so anyway, those are the books I read in August of 1989. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, board games, and fuzzy animals, is ErikSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH5757. That's all I've got. So until next time, read more books.